This past week, we read an article by James G. that discussed how language is more than just grammar. I like this because I am not particularly good at grammar. What G describes is that our language is made up of discourses. What is a discourse? A discourse is a sort of identity kit, which comes complete with the appropriate costume and instructions on how to act, talk, and often write, so as to take on a particular role that others will recognize. There are two types of discourses: primary discourse and secondary discourse. So, our primary discourse is what we feel most comfortable with. It's our home. It's acquired naturally, the basis of identity, used to make sense of the world and interact with others. It's often influenced by a socio-economic status, and students from marginalized communities are disadvantaged and have a harder time reconciling primary and dominant secondary discourses. Secondary discourses are generally learned discourses. They could be different for each thing. When you're at school or in the public, your workplace, with your friends. It just depends on who you're with. It's usually taught over overt instruction, especially through school. Can only be acquired fluently through apprenticeships and being immersed into culture. And it can become a dominant secondary discourse which brings money, power, and prestige. Dominant discourses have gatekeeping mechanisms to test fluent users and keep others out. It can be in conflict with primary discourses if your secondary discourse does not agree with what you have known. You're either fluent with a secondary discourse or you're not part of the discourse. There's not really an in-between, but you can learn it. It just takes time. So where might you have a differing secondary discourse? Maybe at a concert? Or maybe with your friends? Or maybe at practice or a game?
Let's go 15!
Maybe I'm even in a secondary discourse right now making this video. I wouldn't say I'm the most comfortable making videos or very tech savvy, so this is something I needed to learn, and I'm still working on gaining this secondary discourse. Sometimes discourses can lead to stereotypes, and this may be because we all believe that to be in a certain group, we need to act a certain way because they have a specific discourse. But is this true? Or are we all just faking it? I guess this is a question that I want to ask and see if you guys have any opinions on that.